Before we start, please make sure to like this video and hit this subscribe button, so you never miss a story like this. And also comments where you are watching from, how many sons and daughters you have. Thanks. My name is Margaret Louise Carter. But to most people, I'm just that old woman who shops at thrift stores and still writes checks at the register. I wish I could tell you this story starts gently, with a smile, or a kind word, or even a little respect. But it doesn't. No, it starts with the sound of a spoiled little voice cutting through a boutique like a knife. "Oh my God, are those corduroy pants?" She said it loud. On purpose. So everyone could hear. And she wasn't done. "Who still wears clothes like that?" she said, turning to her little pack of Instagram-ready clones with their shiny heels and overpriced sunglasses. "That's, like, Civil War fashion. Did she walk here from 1840? The girls howled. Loud, shrill, bratty laughter that echoed through the high-end consignment store like a middle school cafeteria. I'd come in for one thing. Just one thing. A navy scarf, for the wind. But the moment I stepped through that glass door and they saw me, I became their entertainment. I turned my back. I wasn't going to respond. I've lived too long to waste time on petty people. But that girl, the one with the platinum bob and the Chanel tote, she definitely didn't pay for herself. She wasn't done. "Wait, hold on," she said, walking over. "Are you seriously shopping in this store?" I looked at her. Calmly. "Yes," I said. "I am." She blinked. And then, laughed. "Sweetheart, this is for real women. Not old ladies playing dress-up." I felt something snap inside me. The kind of snap that doesn't come from pride, but from pain. From being dismissed. Diminished. Treated like you no longer matter because your skin has lines and your wardrobe doesn't scream rich. "I suppose you have everything," I said, quietly. "The purse, the attitude, the audience." "Oh, I do," she grinned. "And you? I guess you have your stories?" That stung more than it should have. But I didn't flinch. I smiled. "Because, sweetheart, you're damn right I have stories. You see, people like her, they think money makes them better. That status is permanent. That old women are invisible. Disposable. What she didn't know was that sometimes, the people you look down on are the ones with the most power. The most history. The most truth. But that day, I didn't explain. I let her laugh. I let her win. Until the driver showed up. A tall man in black stepped into the boutique and scanned the room. "Mrs. Carter," he said loudly, respectfully, "the car is ready." And just like that, the room shifted. Her face changed. The giggles stopped. "Ma'am," she muttered under her breath. "Wait. Ma'am?" I walked past her slowly. Deliberately. Corduroy pants and all. And I said 5 words I knew she'd never forget. "You're not the only one. You want the truth?" That girl, her name was Tessa. She thought I was some nobody. She had no idea who I was or what I'd done. But she was about to learn. Because life has a way of putting people in their place. Sometimes softly. Sometimes brutally. But always fairly. And this? This was just the beginning. You see, I didn't come to that store by accident. I'd been watching it for weeks. Not because I needed the clothes, but because I was about to buy the building. My late husband built his fortune investing in real estate people forgot about. And he left every single deed to me. I don't flaunt it. Never needed to. But that boutique Tessa pranced around in like it was her runway? That was about to have my name on the lease. And she was about to be working for me. Let me take you back a little, so you understand how we got here. I grew up with nothing. I scrubbed floors at 15. I ironed shirts for rich women with diamonds on their necks and bitterness in their hearts. I raised 3 kids alone after the war took their father. I've sewn every rip, fixed every pipe, and paid every bill with dignity, even when there was barely enough for bread. And through it all? I never judged. But this new world. This world where people think kindness is weakness? Where girls like Tessa think being cruel is cute. I'm done staying quiet. The driver pulled the door open for me. Tessa stared, slack-jawed, as I stepped inside a sleek, matte black car. The kind she pretends to ride in when she takes selfies outside hotels she can't afford. I didn't say another word to her. I didn't need to. Because the next time she saw me, I'd be sitting across the boardroom table. And she'd be the one asking for my approval. And let me tell you something, that meeting? It would change everything. But first, she was about to lose it all. Starting with that fake little smile. Because when people like her look down on others, they never expect the ones below to rise higher. But I did. And she? She was about to fall. Hard. I didn't look back that day, not once, not even when I heard her say, "Wait, who is she?" Because she didn't deserve an answer. Not yet. You see, people like Tessa, they don't understand consequences. They're used to floating. Skating by on looks and lies, on connections they didn't earn and money they didn't work for. She thinks cruelty is confidence, and rudeness is charm. But behind every woman she's mocked, there's a storm she didn't see coming. And I was that storm. The very next morning, I walked into a boardroom on Fifth Avenue, no flashy outfit, no designer shoes, just a folder full of facts and a silent smile. I met with the property management company overseeing the boutique. The lease was expiring in 60 days. The owners had already decided not to renew. Why? Well, turns out there had been dozens of complaints. About attitude. About discrimination. About disrespect. And not just from me. Other women. Older women. Mothers. Immigrants. Single moms. Hard workers. All of them treated like they didn't belong, because they didn't fit the aesthetic. Tessa didn't know it, but her words had started a fire long before I walked into that shop. I just brought the gasoline. 3 weeks later, I bought the building. Full purchase. No mortgage. I signed the papers with the same hand I once used to clean homes for $5 an hour. And just like that, I became her boss. I didn't fire her. No. I gave her a chance. Because I wanted her to see me. I wanted her to look me in the eye every day and remember the woman she mocked. But more than that. I wanted her to grow. I wanted to believe she could change. She didn't recognize me at first when I walked into the boutique wearing the same corduroy pants. She was behind the counter this time. Alone. She looked tired. Weighed down. Maybe even humbled. "Can I help you?" she said without looking up. "I'm here about the new management," I said, gently. She rolled her eyes. "Oh. Great. More corporate drama." "I'm not from corporate," I said. "I'm the new owner." Her head jerked up so fast, I thought she'd sprained something. And then, silence. Silence so loud, I could feel her heart pounding from across the counter. "You?" she whispered. "But you're. I'm the woman you humiliated in front of strangers. The one you called Civil War fashion." She looked down, her face turning pale. "I didn't mean to." "Oh, you meant every word," I said calmly. "And I meant it when I let you say them. Because now? Now you get to learn what real strength looks like." She stammered. Apologized. Begged, even. But I didn't come for revenge. I didn't need to scream. No, I came for truth. "Tessa," I said, "do you know how many women come into this shop and walk right back out? Not because they can't afford it. But because they know they'll be judged the second they touch a hanger. That's on you." She said nothing. Just nodded. "Your job is safe, for now," I continued. But this isn't just a store anymore. It's a message. Every woman who walks through that door deserves dignity. No matter what she wears, or how old she is. She looked at me, eyes red, lips trembling. I understand, she whispered. I hope you do, I said. Because if you ever humiliate another woman in my building, not just this store, but any business under my name, you won't just lose your job. I leaned closer. You'll lose the chance to become better. And that? That's worth more than any paycheck. Later that day, I watched her help a woman pick out a coat. The woman was older. Fragile. You could tell she didn't feel like she belonged. But this time, Tessa didn't mock her. She smiled. She listened. She cared. And I saw, for the first time, a spark of something real. Something deeper. Maybe shame. Maybe growth. Maybe both. And I realized, maybe the real power isn't proving people wrong. Maybe it's giving them the chance to get it right. People always think power looks like money. Like diamonds, or cars, or control. But real power? It's walking back into the place where you were broken, and standing taller than ever before. It's knowing who you are, even when the world calls you less. It's standing in your truth, with quiet, relentless grace. I may have worn old clothes. But my story? My worth? That never aged. And finally, she saw it. It was a Tuesday. Quiet. The kind of slow morning where even the mannequins looked bored. I was reviewing paperwork in the office upstairs when I heard something, not words, but the kind of sound no human can fake. A gut-deep sob. Sharp. Shattered. Like someone trying to hold the pieces in and failing. I stepped out quietly, followed the sound around the back hallway near the break room. The door was slightly open. And there she was. Tessa. On the floor. Makeup smudged. Shoulders trembling like a little girl caught in a storm. Her phone was on the ground. Still lit up. A voicemail, maybe. Or a call she'd ended too late. I didn't speak. Not right away. Because for the first time, she wasn't the girl who mocked me. She was just, human. After a minute, I stepped inside and sat on the bench across from her. You okay? I asked gently. She jumped. Wiped her face with the back of her hand. I didn't know anyone was here. Sorry. I'll clean up. You don't need to clean up, I said softly. You need to breathe. She looked at me like she didn't recognize me again, but this time, not because she saw someone powerful. But because I didn't throw her pain back in her face. It's my mom, she finally said. She's back in the hospital. I didn't even know until they called. I thought she was better. I haven't visited in weeks. I listened. Just listened. I've been so busy trying to prove myself. Keep this job. Pay rent. Look perfect. Be better than I feel. And now, her voice cracked. Now she might die, and all she remembers is the last time I hung up on her. She buried her face in her hands. And in that moment, something in me softened. Because hurt people hurt people. And this girl was hurting. You think I always had it together? I asked quietly. I used to clean houses. Raise 2 boys on tips. I've scrubbed blood from bedsheets, been called names worse than Civil War grandma, and once got fired because a lady thought my accent was too poor. She looked up, eyes wide. Yeah, I said, nodding. But I never let the world tell me what I was worth. Not even when I wanted to believe it. Tessa wiped her face again, mascara trailing like ink. I've been so awful to people, she said. To you. To others. I don't even know when I started being that person. You didn't start being her, I replied. You became her. Piece by piece. But that means you can unbecome her too. You hear me? She nodded. Barely. But it was enough. I helped her off the floor and poured us both coffee. It wasn't about caffeine. It was about warmth. About pausing. I used to think kindness was weakness, she admitted. Like if I let people in, they'd break me faster. Kindness isn't weakness, I said. It's armor. The strongest kind. Because when people try to tear you down, and you still stand tall, still show grace, that's power they'll never understand. She looked down at her chipped nails, her trembling fingers. I don't deserve to work here, she whispered. I shook my head. You don't deserve to stay who you were. But who you can be. That girl deserves every chance. Later that day, I watched her in the boutique again. She moved differently. Slower. Softer. She helped a young mother pick out a blazer for a job interview, one she couldn't afford until Tessa applied a mysterious promo discount and handed her a tote bag just because. She never looked at me. Not for approval. Not for praise. She just did it. Because that's who she was trying to be now. And that meant something. It meant everything. Sometimes, when people hurt us, we want the ending to be revenge. We want to rise up, walk in rich and cold and powerful, and say, look who's begging now. But sometimes, the real victory is watching someone change because you didn't become the monster they made you face. Sometimes the win is healing them too. Even if it costs your pride. Even if no one else sees it. Because the truth is, I didn't come here to destroy Tessa. I came to rebuild something the world forgot. Dignity. It was a Friday when I saw her step into my shoes. Not literally, though she did start dressing simpler, not less stylish, just less loud. No more designer labels screaming for attention. No more fake accents. She'd replaced the facade with something far rarer in this town, humility. But what struck me most was what she did that morning. I came down early. The sun had barely risen. I usually opened the shop on Fridays because I liked the quiet. The slow hum of espresso machines across the street. The way the air smelled fresh before the city put on its daily mask. And there she was. Tessa. Wearing flat shoes, no makeup, hair tied in a low bun. No click of entitlement in her step. Just a gentle knock on the glass. I unlocked the door. She was holding a paper bag and 2 coffees. One's yours, she said. Extra oat milk, 2 sugars. I asked the barista. I raised a brow. You been spying on me? She smiled. No. Just paying attention. For once. We sat inside. No music, no noise. Just the clink of cups. The smell of cinnamon muffins. And then, like it was nothing, she said, I want to make things right. I don't know how yet. But I want to. I told her the same thing I tell everyone who's failed. You don't fix it with one big moment. You fix it with 1,000 small ones. She nodded. Took out a little notepad. I was surprised. She had written names. Of every customer she remembered being rude to. Even fellow staff. One by one. Notes beside them. Ideas. Apologies. Discounts. Compliments. This isn't for show, she said. You won't find me uploading a growth journey reel online. I don't need a standing ovation. I need to like the girl I see in the mirror again. I believed her. Because I knew that feeling. The biggest change came when a new girl joined the staff. Her name was Rain. Quiet. Timid. Dressed like she'd borrowed everything from a thrift bin, and probably had. She reminded me of someone. Me. At 21. Everyone else whispered when she walked in. One girl even joked, did she come straight from a soup kitchen? I saw Tessa's face shift. Her jaw locked. Her hand twitched. And then, without hesitation, she stood up. Hey, she snapped across the boutique. Loud enough to stop music. That's enough. The girls froze. Tessa turned toward Rain, who was already reaching for her bag, cheeks red with shame. Don't leave, Tessa said gently. You belong here. Your heart? Your work ethic? That's what matters. And if anyone here forgets that, they'll answer to me. I didn't move. I just watched. And smiled. Because that was it. That was the moment. The redemption. Later, I pulled Tessa aside. I saw what you did, I said. She shrugged. Someone once did the same for me. No, I said. They didn't. I didn't. Not then. You chose to be better even when no one forced you. That takes guts. She bit her lip. You did plenty. You showed me grace when I didn't earn it. I paused. Let the silence say what I couldn't. Then I reached into my drawer and pulled out an envelope. She blinked when I handed it to her. What is this? An opportunity, I said. I've been meaning to step back a bit. Travel. Breathe. I need someone to manage the store. Her eyes went wide. Me? You've earned the right to lead, I said. Not because you're perfect. But because you're real now. People follow real. Tears welled in her eyes. But, she whispered. What if I mess it up again? You will, I said. Everyone does. Just don't forget who you became to get here. That weekend, we had our busiest Saturday in months. Customers smiling. Staff flowing like music. Tessa behind the register, praising Rain, answering questions, moving like someone who belonged. She wasn't wearing heels. She wasn't flaunting her bag. But when she stood in front of that mirror, ringing up a customer who once judged her, she didn't flinch. Because she didn't need their approval anymore. She had found her own. You see, when someone mocks you, your first instinct is to shrink or to strike back. But the real power is surviving long enough to become the kind of person who turns mockers into mirrors. Tessa saw herself in me. And I saw hope in her. And that's the greatest victory of all. 3 months later, I was invited to an exclusive charity gala uptown. Not because I was rich or famous, but because the event was being held in honor of women who uplift other women in business. And someone very unexpected, had put my name forward. It was Tessa. She'd written a whole letter, nominating me. Told them about the boutique. About what I did for her. About how the lessons I gave freely were worth more than any fashion degree or influencer deal. She wrote, Margaret didn't just teach me to dress women, she taught me to respect them, to see past their shoes and into their stories. She didn't throw me out when I mocked her. She lifted me until I could stand on my own. I was stunned. And deeply, quietly moved. So I went. I wore a navy dress. It wasn't designer. Just elegant. Clean. The same pearl earrings I'd worn for 20 years. Hair in a neat twist. I had no idea what the night would bring. But I didn't expect her. As I stepped out of the car, another black car pulled up behind me. And out came Mallory. Yes. That Mallory. Tessa's old crowd. The one who had humiliated me the first day she walked into my store. Who'd called me nobody, who had once said I looked like I stitched my clothes by candlelight. She stepped out, draped in a silver gown so shiny I could practically see my reflection in it. And then, she saw me. She blinked. Paused. For a moment, I could see it, she couldn't place me. Her mind couldn't compute the version of me standing in front of her now. I wasn't the woman she once smirked at behind designer sunglasses. Now I stood tall. Confident. And in that moment, something happened that I'll never forget. Her driver, a tall man in a black suit, walked toward me, nodded politely, and said, Ma'am. Would you like me to take your bag inside? Mallory's head whipped around so fast, I thought her earring would fly off. Wait, she snapped. You're here for her? The driver looked confused. Yes, ma'am. She's on the list. Margaret L., guest of honor. Mallory's jaw dropped. And I? I didn't gloat. Didn't smirk. Didn't say a word. I just smiled. The kind of smile that comes when you've walked through fire and come out carrying water. Inside, the lights were warm. The music elegant. Tessa was there, greeting guests. Rain too, helping at the registration desk. They waved. Tessa looked radiant, not in gold or glitter, but in grace. She came to me. You look like a queen, she whispered. I smiled. I feel like one. Later, when the speeches began, they called my name. I walked to the podium. My heels clicked softly, a steady, confident rhythm. I didn't have a speech prepared. But I had my story. So I told it. About the boutique. About the first day Tessa mocked me. About how life has a funny way of teaching lessons, but only to those willing to learn. And I said, some people think your worth is stitched into your wardrobe. But what matters more is what's woven into your character. You can wear velvet and still have a heart made of rags. Or you can wear hand-me-downs and carry the dignity of royalty. The room fell silent. Then, applause. Not thunderous. But deep. Respectful. Real. After the event, as I was leaving, Mallory approached. Still in her shimmering armor. She cleared her throat. I didn't realize who you were, she said softly. No, I said gently. You didn't. She nodded, eyes flickering. Tessa speaks so highly of you now. She's changed. She chose to change, I said. No one forced her. Mallory looked down. I was cruel to you. That day in the store. Yes, I said. You were. Silence. Can I come by sometime? Visit the boutique, she asked. I paused. Then I said. You're welcome to walk in. Just remember, we look beyond the brand tags. She gave a tight, awkward smile. Fair enough. And just like that, she walked away. No driver to open her door this time. I, on the other hand, was escorted like royalty. The same man, the driver, held the door open for me again. He smiled. You inspire people, ma'am. I smiled back. No, I said. I just refuse to be anyone else but myself. You see. You never know who's watching. Who you're teaching. Who you're becoming. The people who mock you today may one day follow the path you laid. The girl who once laughed at my shoes now protects girls who wear them. The woman who once dismissed me now watches me walk ahead. And me? I'll keep walking. In my old shoes. With my old soul. Because style fades. Trends vanish. But character? That walks with you forever, you see. Sometimes, the loudest judgments come from the most insecure hearts. People who mock your clothes, your job, your background, they're often just afraid of their own reflection. But your worth was never stitched into your wardrobe. It's sewn into how you treat others when no one's watching. Into how you rise after being torn down. Into how you lift someone else, even when they try to pull you low. Tessa once laughed at me. She mocked my clothes, my store, my life. But instead of kicking her out, I showed her grace. And grace changes people. Not always instantly. Not always loudly. But deeply. Mallory? She thought labels defined status. But she learned, the label that matters most, is your name. And what you stand for. The truth is, you don't need a luxury car to be respected. You don't need 1 million followers to inspire someone. And you don't need designer shoes to walk in power. You just need to keep walking. Because one day, the same people who laughed at you might open the door for you, call you ma'am with respect, and realize they never really saw you until you rose. So don't let cruelty shrink you. Don't let mockery define you. And don't let their noise drown out your quiet strength. Keep going. Because real style never fades. And true character never goes out of fashion.